Well, can we talk about your background a little bit? And, for people who are interested in becoming a criminal defense lawyer, how did you get into the law, and especially criminal defense? Because just from what I've seen is there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of pathways for young lawyers in the South or Georgia to get into criminal defense work outside of private defense, because the public defender's offices seem so underfunded there. That how did you get your start, and how can you what's your advice to other people who want to be attorneys?
Well, the public defender's office definitely, is probably doesn't receive the type of funds that's really needed to fight for people's rights. But, for the most part, or I hope that most individuals that practice what we practice, criminal defense, that you're doing it, it's not about the money. And everybody has to make a living, sure. But there needs to be this has to be what you want to do. It has to be a level of passion and wanting to help people, and because it's you're the underdog walking in the courtroom. Okay, yeah. So I mean, you're facing a real organization with money and a whole bunch of members and investigators and detectives and a whole bunch of people that wants to get after you, right? And you're often by yourself, or with your lawyer. So the other side is the powerful side for sure. So I think it's something that you just need to want to do, and it has to be a passion of yours. And if it is, you'll see your way through, because there are plenty of seasoned lawyers that want to help. I help individuals that's just now entering into criminal defense all the time, in as many ways that I possibly can, because I just appreciate that they want to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, but going to the public defender's office is a good idea to get some experience. I didn't do that, but I think it's a great idea. I think that if you can handle, even if you want to be a defense lawyer, if you can handle going and doing some kind of internship at the prosecution's office while you're in school, is a great idea. You get to see how the other side works, how they prosecute cases, how they deal with their detectives, things of that nature, and that could assist you. I didn't do that either, but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. And what was where did you go to law school, and how did you end up working with Bruce Harvey? I mean, I know he's got such a good reputation in that area that there must be a lot of young attorneys who would want to do trials with him. But how did you?
Absolutely. So undergrad, so I'm from Atlanta, and I've lived in some other states, growing up, but I'm from Atlanta, and I went to University of Georgia for my undergrad. I went to Stetson in Florida for my JD. I chose that school because they specialize in trial advocacy, and I knew that I wanted to be a trial lawyer. I knew that I wanted inside of a courtroom. I didn't want to just be behind the desk. I wasn't going to be, a plea lawyer just making pleas. If that's what's best for the client, fine. I'll litigate and I'll negotiate that too. But you want to go to trial, I'm going to take you there, and we're going to give them a rough time. So that's why I chose Stetson, and they were great. They really assisted me, a lot. In reference to Attorney Harvey, let me see. We had a client, the individual hired myself and also hired Attorney Harvey, just separately. And we ended up, working on that case together, as co-lead counsel. And then, we both love what we do. So, every day we started talking shop, like, so I have this one case. Oh, I have this one case. What do you think? And I'm thinking about this defense and things of that nature. And then next thing you know, we started doing other cases together. And then we just started doing several cases together, state and federal. And if it's something that he knows, that I'm interested in, or if it's something that I know that he's interested in, we'll give each other a call and we'll team up.
I think what you were talking about law school, you went to the law school because Stetson, because it actually had a focus on trial advocacy. And I think there's kind of sometimes a misperception from people that, they have to go to some brand name law school or some really big law school in order to get certain gigs. And I think that's true if you're interested in like a big law career. But like you said, if you actually want to be a trial lawyer. I remember the joke was when with Stuart Rhodes, the Oath Keeper, he's actually a Yale Law School graduate, if people can believe that. When he went on trial, the joke was that was the closest a Yale Law School grad was ever going to get to a criminal trial. Because in the end, if you really want advocacy work and be in a courtroom, that's what you're looking for, right? Like you can find a law school that suits your needs, that isn't some big fancy law school that churns out, Sullivan and Cromwell partners, right? Do you see a lot of different law schools like that in the Atlanta area and the South area that may not be nationally known, but is really the best option for people locally if they want to be a criminal defense attorney?
I think that it just really depends on what you want to do if you know in advance. And I think it's great to go to a law school with a name too, because that helps. Names open doors. So, but I also think that it's great to go to a law school that specializes in what you want. At the time, Stetson, there's a lot of trial teams and moot courts and competitions and things of that nature, and they were consistently in the top 3 every year for about the 2 decades before I went. So that's why I made the decision. But it was even a hard decision for me.
Yeah.
I was actually going to go to a different law school before I ended up kind of changing my mind at the last minute. I was going to Howard. So and then I changed my mind, but I didn't really at the time. It wasn't the political situation that I was into. It was going to trial, and so that's the decision that I made. But really, once you get out of law school and you work hard and you make your own way in your own lane, most of your colleagues and people that hire you, they won't even ask you. They don't even care.
Yeah.
It's really about, are you a good lawyer? Are you a great lawyer? Are you really going to fight hard for me? Are you going to give legal arguments? Are you going to know the law? Are you going to give arguments that a judge says, I have to think about that? Are you going to be prepared when you examine that witness? Do you care? Because you're not going to be able to fake that you care about this.
Yeah.
You can't fake knowing the law. You can't fake passion. You can't. We work like an insane amount of hours. Like seriously, at this point, I don't even want to tell you how many hours I work a week, but we, and I'm saying we, myself and Attorney Harvey, we literally work 7 days a week. It's a holiday right now and I'm at the office, so it takes a lot of time and effort. But if it's what you really enjoy, then it's all worth it. And I love literally every moment of it. And you will too if it's what you want to do. If it's not what you want to do, then think about it again, because it's too much work to not really enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is this case? I mean, the attention it's gotten and just the problems that we saw over the summer with the contempt order against Brian Steele. Has this done anything to like unify the criminal defense bar in Georgia at all? I mean, have you seen that, or were you guys kind of a tight-knit crew before that?
I think a mixture of both. I think a tight-knit crew before, it doesn't take long to get for colleagues to become friends and to do cases together and things of that nature, because you can tell who's going 100 miles an hour at this profession, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it touched me, when that situation happened with, Attorney Steele, and to just watch, obviously the defense lawyers in the courtroom, we were in it with them, but to watch so many defense lawyers that was not, representing somebody in this particular case, but literally showed up to the courthouse. Yeah. And so that was a good feeling. That was a wonderful feeling. And Attorney Steele, he's great.
Yeah.
So he's awesome. He's amazing.
I see somebody in the comments ask, it's not appropriate, but how much does a defense like this cost? And yeah, I mean, what do you care about billing here? I mean, because you and Bruce are privately retained, right?
So we are privately retained. Yeah. Generally speaking, defense lawyer, different defense lawyers do different things. I don't even know if you can say generally speaking on that, but it's not for us, it's not an hourly. I'm not talking about this case. I'm just talking about period. It's not an hourly situation. This is how much this case costs. And that's pretty much that. Besides, possible extra expenses like investigators or experts and things of that nature. But the lawyer fee for us is usually a set price, and which I'm not going to tell you guys. So, but in reference to this case, but period, it just kind of depends on the case. Usually, when someone calls us, we don't just, it's not just like a standard number, like, oh, this charge just particularly cost this. We're getting information. I'm not going to take a case unless I want to take it. If I want to fight as hard as I possibly can at your freedom, I'm going to take your case. Anything other than that, I'm not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much money you have.
And so back to Bruce, what was the first case that you did with him? Did you you talked about you've done some cases here and there, but can you remember the first?
I don't know if I can remember the first case that I did with him. I want to say, at least early on in the first few cases, I believe it was federal case. But I remember the first trial, and we got a not guilty verdict, all counts, and the rest was history after that.
Yeah. Nice. So where do you practice primarily? Are you in Fulton County Superior Court most times? I know you said you're licensed in Florida, New York. Is that?
Yes.
Is that right?
So I am. So Georgia is home, home office, home practice, but it's not just a Fulton County situation. I mean, it's Fulton and all the surrounding areas and the not so surrounding areas. For us, it's more about the case. You can be wherever, if you call and we have a conversation, and it's not an open door. You can't just be a client just because you call. So we're going to have a consultation. We're going to have a dialogue. Everybody needs to, you need the client needs to have faith in myself or in myself and Attorney Harvey. I need to want to represent the case. And if so, we'll figure out the terms that's agreeable amongst all. But Atlanta's home, and I would say state and federal, the federal courts, right? It's in walking distance from Fulton County Superior Court. So we do both pretty much on a day-to-day basis, but everywhere. It's more about the case.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some more questions that I saw early on here. People were asking, this was back when it first started, but if you had any thoughts on Judge Whittaker when she was reading out loud the Instagram comments, and she read aloud the N-word and then apologized for it later. I saw some people asking us like what we thought of it. I'll just say I think it was good that she apologized. But what did do you have an opinion on that, about how it came out, whether it was appropriate to do in the first place, whether she should have apologized?
So I was not watching. I was not in the courtroom. Yeah. I have been in the courtroom several times since the plea of Mr. Nichols, but I was not in the courtroom at that moment. So, and I have not watched the live feed on it yet. But, I have heard about it. And, from my understanding, she came back and said, hey, I was just reading. I didn't, see that word. And you can correct me if you're wrong, if I'm wrong, because I know that you've probably been keeping up with it. But she said, I was just reading. I didn't mean any harm, about it. And, and so I think she explained, herself. And
yeah. I'm trying to think of any other like controversial moments that have happened that we can talk about since you've left, but that seems to have kind of taken. But we got into the, third, like you said, there's not much you can say with the trial going on, but the current defense on the Shamel Drinks murder. But it seems like there's a lot more to come with that in the coming week, and then we have argument that's gonna put this all together. But
I just want you to stay tuned, and I want you to watch Max. That's Shannon Stillwell's lawyer. And to, pay attention to Doug Weinstein, and that's Yak's lawyer, and just keep giving the case the attention that we believe that it deserves, and see it all the way through to end. And those are two great lawyers. Those are the type of lawyers that, that we discussed earlier, lawyers that are great, that are passionate, diligent, organized, and we've been able to see them exhibit that throughout this whole trial, and I have all faith it's definitely going to continue. So.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I thought Judge Whittaker's comment, indicated just the timing of it. Her apology indicated that she completely follows the social media. I mean, during her lunch break, she had to have, or her staff was reading the tweets about it and saw the tweets about her reading that aloud. So I think, and like you said earlier in the interview, that it matters. I mean, all the attention and all the support that you get online is a good morale boost for the defense, and it's good for people for them to know that, you know, hey, people are out there rooting for you guys. So
and it stops, you know, that's one of the reasons why we have public trials, is so that people can't do things in the dark, right? And so one of the things that, you know, we were happy about is we're like, okay, people are saying what the state is doing in this particular case. And we were happy that that wasn't in the dark, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, because I mean, the things that the state did in this particular case, it was so outrageous. I don't know if anybody would have believed the stories without it actually being live, and you can see this happening. I mean, you know, I don't know. Someone told me the other day that we had made, I don't know, over 40 plus motions for mistrial at a certain point. I mean, you know, you have to see that to believe it, right? So that's why the media, you know, was just so important. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't see that particular clip yet. I'll make sure I watch it tonight. But, you know, my understanding is that she immediately came back and explained the situation. And so, you know.
Yeah. Well, what else didn't we cover here? What did you, was there anything else that you want to get in, or does anyone have any questions? Oh, somebody, all that stuff is just gossip. Like, what about Caleb Bumpus's marriage? I'm like, well, I'll just leave that
Lord.
to comments. Let her if it was your client, I'd ask for it, but you're not representing it. So.
Yeah. Tell the individuals to interview her, and you ask her.
Yeah. She's available.
No comment.
Yes, we are live. So, so I think that's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much, especially, you know,
I appreciate it.
Advice to young lawyers and everything is good. I think it's great to actually see people in the courtroom in action. And that's one thing this has given us. So thank you so much.
I wanted to, let me tell you this. I want to say thank you to you personally, because, which is one of the reasons, you know, I was like, oh, we have to do this interview, because you're one of the individuals that was pretty much in it from the beginning and really giving the case attention. And so we just really, really, really appreciate it. And so thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
In touch. When I get out to Atlanta, I'd love to get together. So.
All right, please do.
All right. See you guys later. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hit the like button.